The vault of echoed stars floated in the gravity-sheared skies of Kelthura, a gas giant whose swirling storm rings whispered secrets in electromagnetic pulses. The vault itself, an impossible construct of living metal and suspended starlight, spiraled infinitely inward, a paradox of space and time. It was said to be built by the first architects, long vanished, but still worshipped by those who remembered. Today, the vault thrummed with life. Within its amphitheater of void glass and star iron, representatives from the galaxy's most feared and revered species had gathered, called not by invitation, but by a signal not heard in millennia. A Cythery emissary, its liquid crystal form shimmering with fractal light, pulsed rhythmically in place, mimicking breath it never needed. Beside it, the Throx wore binder, a creature composed of chain-link bone and plasma tendrils, shifted restlessly, leaving scorch marks on floor with every twitch. In the shadows, the Violin Whisperkin, vaguely humanoid silhouettes wrapped in sentient cloaks of memory-eating fog, spoke in thoughts that brushed the edge of sanity. And floating high above, the presiding entity, known only as the chorus, hovered like a collapsed sun, its voice layered, ancient, and vast enough to bend meaning. The signal originates from Sol, Terran origin confirmed. A flicker of recognition and unease. Terrans, the long-silenced, self-doomed species from the forbidden cradle world. Earth, a race whose last message now echoed in the vault's chamber. If you can hear this, we are all that remains. We seek peace. We seek help. Please, before it's too late. Around the chamber, beings stirred, not in sympathy, but in interest, because no one had contacted Earth in over 10,000 cycles, not since it was quarantined. And now, someone had broken the seal. The ripple of dissonance ran to the chamber as the stasis field dissolved with hiss, revealing a lone figure standing at the edge of the vault's arrival deck. No ceremonial garb, no entourage, no genetic enhancements. Just a human. Commander Alara Miles, last-ranking officer of Earth's long-defunct Terran diplomatic corps, stepped off the platform in worn-out boots and a patched flight jacket stitched with faded mission tags. Her only companion, a half-functional AI wristband named Milo, blinked erratically and muttered sarcastic diagnostics under its breath. Around her, representatives of apex civilizations floated, glared, or buzzed, each one engineered, evolved, or born to dominate. Many hadn't seen a human in centuries. Some thought they were extinct. Others wished they were. Alara gave a lazy wave. "Hi. So, which one of you is in charge of not killing me?" No one laughed. Not out loud. But someone took notice. From the high gallery, a violin whisper turned to its kin. She wears defiance like ritual armor. A Throx general snarled, low and guttural. "Fleshbound. Weak. Why does it not tremble?" And in the background, Milo chirped with mock encouragement. "Great job, Alara. Only 87% of present species have historically consumed humans. Statistically, you've got a shot." She smirked, brushing wind-blown hair from her face. She didn't belong here. Everyone knew it. And yet, she was the one they answered. Because when Earth's final signal was sent, it wasn't from a general or ruler. It was her voice they heard. The vault dimmed as the central dais rose, its obsidian surface shimmering into a vast holographic projection of war-torn planets, scorched alliances, and dying stars. A voice, deep and resonant, echoed through the chamber. As per the codex of the Bound Accord, the petitioning species must now prove its worth through the challenge of dominion. A hush fell. The challenge wasn't diplomacy. It wasn't negotiation. It was a test older than the vault itself, a ritualized contest of skill, strategy, and survival watched across galaxies, where civilizations earned respect or extinction. From the far end of the chamber, he stepped forward, Veilzur, the warden of the Black Flame, a towering, six-limbed predator, clad in obsidian armor etched with the names of fallen challengers, each one a world long forgotten. His eyes, for crimson slits, glowed with eternal fire. His breath shimmered with nanite ash. He had never been defeated. "Another desperate species steps into fire," he growled. "Let it be extinguished." As ceremonial drones hovered above, projecting profiles of the chosen combatants, Alara's statistics flashed briefly. Species, human. Planet of origin, Sol 3 deceased. Ranking, non-existent. Odds of victory, 0.00003%. Milo whistled. Well, that's generous. Around her, beings whispered, scoffed, or turned away. The old ways demanded power, precision, and legacy. Elara had none. But what she did have was something none of them could measure. She cracked her neck and stepped forward, her voice steady. All right, big guy, let's see if fire can learn fear. In the preparation chamber, an atmosphere-neutral zone said faintly of ozone and burnt metal. Combatants meditated, calibrated neural implants, or synced with battles orbiting their minds. Elara? She was doing yoga. Well, a loose approximation of yoga involving an old Earth playlist called Zen Beats and Battle Prep, some deep lunges, and a suspiciously Earth-originated cup of instant coffee. Milo blinked in disbelief. You do realize your opponent just disemboweled a fusion bear with his thoughts, right? She took a sip. Let him try. I've dealt with middle management during budget season. Across the chamber, a gelatinous warrior paused mid-phase shift to watch her downward dog with morbid curiosity. Two crystalline observers began vibrating at such a frequency. Their hum resembled stifled laughter. An insectoid medic from the audience section whispered to its kin, "Is this part of some human pre-battle ritual? Psychological warfare?" "No!" Its companion buzzed, tilting its compound eyes. "I think it's stretching." Then Elara stood, cracked her knuckles, and pulled out a rusty Earth-made spanner. No plasma blades, no neural disruptors, just one beat-up tool she affectionately called the Negotiator. "All right, Milo," she grinned, tapping the spanner against her palm. "Let's give the galaxy a show it won't forget." Milo blinked twice. "You're either about to make history or the weirdest corpse exhibit in this vault's museum wing." The vault's arena shimmered into existence. Shifting terrain, gravitational anomalies, and atmospheric wildcards all randomly generated. Every match was a gauntlet, and survival was spectacle. Match 1, the Mind-Weaver of Zeldar, a serpentine being with 6 eyes and neural tendrils that projected illusions directly into the victim's mind. Elara stepped into the arena and was instantly surrounded by terrifying visions, explosions, pain, failure. She blinked, then laughed. "This is nothing compared to Earth's last family dinner I attended." And then she started singing. Off-key, loudly, something ancient and cursed. Musical note, never gonna give you up, never gonna let you down. Musical note, the Mind-Weaver recoiled. Its neural field wavered. Its translator buzzed. What is a rickroll? Milo, oh no, she's weaponized 21st century memes. Victory, Elara via psychological disarmament. Match 2, the Phyrexian Flame Twins. Twin combatants who shared a pyrokinetic bond. One burned, the other absorbed and redirected. Synchronized, lethal, elegant. Elara? She rolled into cover, peeked out, and chucked a fire extinguisher she'd smuggled from the prep area. PFFSSSSHHD. Confused silence. Then coughing. From the flames. "Why is it snowing foam?" one twin asked. Elara popped up. "Because you two run hot, and I'm here to cool you down." Victory, Elara via improvised equipment and banter. Match 3, the Calculan, a tactical AI swarm. Each drone acting as a single synaptic node in a hyper-intelligent kill matrix. Elara walked out holding a laser pointer. "Let's see how smart you really are." She flicked the red dot across the arena wall. Instantly, a third of the drones broke formation, obsessively tracking the light. The rest tried to compensate and crashed mid-recalibration. Milo groaned. "You just exploited cat behavior in war machines." She sipped her coffee. "Can't code out curiosity." Victory, Elara via chaos theory and cat logic. The crowd, once skeptical, was now electric. Bets shifted. Commentators struggled to explain her methods. She wasn't just surviving. She was rewriting the rules. And somewhere in the shadows of the vault, Veil-Zur watched in silence. The fire in his eyes flickered, not with anger, but with interest. In the chamber of embered memory, Veilzor stood motionless before a column of cascading holograms, each replaying the human's battle from multiple angles, slowed to nanoseconds, analyzed by combat AIs, and still inexplicable. The fire within his core pulsed unevenly. Not fear, but something dangerously close to curiosity. He watched the moment she used a fire extinguisher on the Phyrexian twins. Primitive, unrefined, illogical, effective. He clenched a fist of living magma, cracking the stone pedestal beside him. She is not trained. She is not conditioned. She is not bound by discipline, and still she prevails. The elder tacticians of his lineage, etched into obsidian slabs behind him, spoke only of ritual, of tradition, of perfect forms honed through eons. Yet this human, she laughed in battle. She improvised. She mocked. And somehow, her chaos disrupted everything. This Alara, he growled, eyes narrowing. She does not seek dominance. She disrespects it. He paced, heavy footsteps melting into the floor. The others underestimate her. They see a fool. I see a fire with no forge. Wild, reckless, uncontrolled. He paused before the final hologram, the one he hadn't erased. Her voice, just before victory. Let's give the galaxy a show it won't forget. For the first time in centuries, Veilzor felt the faintest flicker of anticipation. Not for conquest, but for a worthy opponent. As Alara stepped onto final ascent platform, the vault of echoed stars itself seemed to hesitate. Every system, from the betting algorithms of the Mercurian Syndicate to the battle predictive matrices of the oracles of Rail, lit up in red. Error, outcome not predictable, anomaly detected. RE evaluate parameters. Across the galaxy, watch parties of 1,000 species erupted into stunned murmurs. Traders paused. Scholars blinked. Warriors clenched their claws or tentacles or photon streams in disbelief. How had this unarmed, unranked, caffeine-dependent mammal advanced to the final confrontation? Even her previous opponents watched in silence, not out of resentment, but respect. The Phyrexian twins posted a public challenge. We demand a rematch, not to win, but to understand. The Mindweaver submitted an academic paper titled Cognitive Dissonance in the Face of Ridiculous Tactics. The Calculan Swarm added Alara as a new variable in their chaos simulations. And deep within the vault's ruling chamber, whispers grew louder. She makes a mockery of tradition. Or perhaps she reveals its flaws. But Alara? She sat cross-legged in the prep bay, poking at a cracked protein bar and humming to herself. Her wristband Milo blinked furiously. You realize your opponent has reduced solar titans to slag and once bisected a warship with his thoughts? She grinned. Cool. I got sarcasm, duct tape, and indigestion. Let's go. Above her, the announcement rang out. Final match. Alara Miles of Soul, 3 versus Veilzor, Warden of the Black Flame. The vault vibrated as the crowd roared, a sound not of approval, but of raw anticipation. For the first time in 10,000 cycles, the galaxy wasn't sure who was walking into victory, and who was walking into legend. The vault arena transformed, its floor fracturing into shifting plates of molten stone and floating platforms. Rivers of raw energy pulsed beneath them, casting flickering light on a battlefield built for gods. At one end stood Veilzor, Warden of the Black Flame, his obsidian armor radiant with runes of conquest. His voice echoed across the chamber like volcanic thunder. You wield no weapon. You bear no honor. You stand not to win, only to mock us. Alara cracked her knuckles and adjusted her fingerless gloves. You're not entirely wrong. But to be fair, I'm also here to not die. So let's call even. The crowd watched in breathless silence. Some for blood, others for revelation. Round 1, power. Veilzor moved first, a streak of flame and fury, his limbs transforming into plasma whips that scorched the air. Alara ducked, dodged, tripped over a rock, rolled and whack, smacked him with a metal thermos. The clang echoed unnaturally. Did I just hit you with my lunch? She said, blinking. He growled, stunned, not from the pain, but the absurdity. Round 2, precision. The warden raised his hands. summoning a ring of fire-laced glyphs. Each spell struck with mathematical perfection, meant to incinerate, not miss. But Alara? She zigzagged like a squirrel in a thunderstorm, using debris, a fallen drone, and at one point, her own jacket as a decoy. She flung her AI wristband across the field. Catch! Milo screamed midair. This is not an ideal strategy. The explosion missed her entirely. Round 3, belief. Veilzur paused. For the first time, he didn't attack. You have no form, no code, no lineage, and yet his flames dimmed slightly. You adapt, not to win, but to survive. Alara exhaled, finally winded. Yeah, well, humanity's kind of famous for that. You got sacred scrolls, we got duct tape and panic. Then she pulled something from her jacket. A mirror. Specifically, the cracked rear-view mirror of her old escape shuttle. She angled it. The reflected light split Veilzur's heat signature, refracting the plasma whip attack back toward him in a chaotic arc. Boom! The impact knocked him back, smoke rising from his scorched armor. He kneeled, not in defeat, in acknowledgement. Silence. Then, applause. Not polite, not even unanimous, but enough. The vault's core flared as the presiding entity's voice rang out. Victory! Alara miles of Soul 3. The crowd erupted. Spectators didn't know whether to cheer, laugh, or update their probability models. Milo, now reattached and blinking furiously, whispered, You didn't just win. You changed the game. Alara looked at Veilzur, who simply nodded once. Next time, he said quietly, Bring 2 thermoses. She grinned. Deal! The vault of echoed stars, once a sanctum of unshakable traditions, now buzzed with uncertainty. Species that once ruled through rigid systems of dominance sat in stunned silence. The battle feeds replayed across 1,000 worlds, and everywhere one name surged into legend. Alara Miles. Human. Survivor. Disruptor. She stood at the center of the arena, scuffed and smudged, sipping cold coffee from the dented thermos that had technically helped win a galactic death match. Well, she muttered to Milo, that went better than expected. The presiding entity descended, not as judge, but witness. Its voice, typically omnipotent, now carried a faint trace of wonder. You challenged the sacred, and it bent, not from force, but from flexibility. Veilzur, standing beside her now as something closer to a peer than a rival, offered a rare statement to the gathered preslings. She reminded us that to endure is not to conquer, but to adapt. The fire that burns uncontrolled may yet warm the stars. Across the galaxy, things began to shift. The Mindweavers opened their first academy dedicated to chaos logic. The Crothri, once brutal traditionalists, revised their sacred combat code, adding a clause titled, The Alara Variable. Even the Council Continuum, once Earth's staunchest opposers, dispatched a formal envoy to reassess Sol 3's relevance. Later, aboard her patched-up shuttle, drifting quietly above a reborn Earth's orbit, Alara watched the blue planet slowly spinning. Milo buzzed beside her. The vault has offered her the seat. You know what that means. She smiled faintly, setting the thermos aside. It means the universe just got a little weirder. In a good way. She looked out at the stars, now not cold or indifferent, but watching. Turns out hope wasn't extinct, just underestimated. And somewhere across light years a flame flickered, not with destruction, but with new beginnings. As Alara's shuttle drifted beyond the vault's gravitational pull, a new signal pulsed quietly in the dark. This time from Earth, not a cry for help, but a response to victory. Milo's screen blinked. Incoming message. Sol 3, encrypted, unclassified tag, Phase 2. Alara raised an eyebrow. Already? I was hoping for at least a nap and a sandwich. She opened the file. Inside, schematics, names, dossiers. Other survivors. Other humans. Each one different. Each one unpredictable. Meanwhile, across the galaxy, combat academies recalibrated. Elder councils reconvened. The betting syndicates crashed for the second time in a cycle. And Veilzur, seated once more in his chamber of flame, whispered to no one. She was the beginning, Back in the shuttle, Ilara grinned at the growing list on screen. Guess the galaxy better buckle up. She leaned back in her chair, tapped the console, and sent a single message. Hope's back. And it brought friends. End of Arc 1. To be continued. Enjoyed the story? Subscribe now to witness what happens when humanity's most unpredictable minds meet the galaxy's oldest powers. Because this was just a first spark. And the universe hasn't seen anything yet. Flying Saucer new episodes, wild twists, and cosmic chaos await. Don't miss what's next. Play button, subscribe, and stay tuned.